Fantastic. I've never done this before, so this could be interesting. Thanks very much for coming along. Very quickly, but concisely, hopefully. AI is really cool. It's a noble intent through our own history to try and get computers, machines, to be able to do tasks that are interesting, like image recognition. That previous slide was showing a picture of a pigeon brain, because lots of our inspiration is from nature, because nature seems to do things already. It's the ability of AI to do tasks has improved. This is the performance against image recognition, and I'm running behind. We surpassed human ability to kind of correctly classify things. I'm putting this picture up because we've entered a new phase now where AI is able to discover things that humans couldn't. So the game of Go was hard, but Google's announced that actually its machine has discovered strategies that humans in 3,000 years haven't. So that's exciting, and it's all really cool and positive and lots of hype. But we've now entered a new phase, I think, where with disturbing news like interviews for jobs being done by video and machines making decisions by reading your facial kind of expressions and making decisions on whether you're suitable or not. And I think that's something to be worried about. And at scale, it's well known that some countries apply these kinds of automated decision-making things to individuals in society. This is a well-publicized case in China. Over there are some statistics about the UK. We have increasing kind of cameras looking at us, and incorrectly 98% wrong, I think. The police have been kind of classifying as criminals when we're not. So we've created a monster. What the hell are we going to do about it? It's making decisions faster and faster. People are making money out of it. How can we stop it? Luckily, we've got government bugger. So I actually have some experience in this sector, and unfortunately I can tell you that the people who kind of write policies, make legislation, aren't domain experts, and therefore there's a vacuum, and it gets filled by people who can afford to tell them what to do, corporations, and that's bad. So I think one way to kind of approach this is to kind of demystify AI, rip off its mask and show it for what it really is. We kind of hold it in some kind of esteem. We put it on a pedestal, and that's wrong. I put this slide up because I want to make fun of it. It's important to recognize how we're being fed this message around AI. There's a lot of money in creating these images, in journalism, news. Is putting these things up as if it's kind of super cool, futuristic, but we should make fun of it because what that thing was looking at was total nonsense. If I went back a slide, which I can't do, so so we should not be kind of mystified by it. We should kind of use humor if we can. We should understand it, and teaching is terrible. I mean, that slide showed you various courses on machine learning methods, and most people are going to run away from that. If we're trying to reach the public, that's not going to work. I won't have time to talk about this, but it was just a super simple example of what actually happens inside machine learning. Real simple machine that tries to convert kilometers to miles, gets it wrong the first time, uses the error to update its kind of multiplication factor. That is a simple idea, and that's the heart of what happens inside almost all machine learning systems. If you can understand that, which you can, we can demystify it. This is code. We can rip the lid off these boxes and look inside, and if we can read code, which is not hard to learn. This is a 10-year-old doing a machine learning project. It is possible for children to understand and use these tools, and more importantly, to rip the lid off and understand how they work inside. It is possible. The key is to get the teaching right. The key is to get the packaging and communication right. We're not doing that. Look at the journals. Look at the kind of reporting and media. Mumbo jumbo. And I can tell you, as somebody who's qualified in the subject, it's rubbish. There's a lot of talk around, important talk around ethics and AI and impacts on society, which is really important. But unfortunately, I think there's, in terms of talking to the public, they see it as a little bit remote, a bit aloof, using long words, mentioning authors every second sentence. And that's not a way to communicate. So let's try and simplify a little bit. So I'm going to make an attempt. I'm not saying this is the right answer, but I'm going to make an attempt to simplify an approach to understanding and thinking about AI. So what is it we want to actually achieve? I'd say it's trust. Can we trust these things? How do we get there? I say it's based on values that we as humans care about. Now, you may disagree that these are the most important things. That's okay. You can put your own words there. I think the important thing is that these things have been around. We've cared about these for millennia. These are not new digital rights. These are not new things that we have to invent. We care about privacy. We think it's important to be a human. To be human is to have some privacy. Equality is important. Transparency, lots of people have talked about as a way of kind of keeping things in check and having trust in them. There's a cultural problem. I also come from the tech sector, and as an engineering discipline, it's really immature. Too often, people build code because it's easy. You kind of copy code and paste it, and it kind of works, and you can hack it together. But the engineering disciplines, like sort of mechanical engineering and so on, they're much more careful about understanding how things should work, understanding their limits, proving it, demonstrating it in a much more scientific sense. And we're quite good at that when we want to be. These are nuclear safety cases. My very first job was up in Berkeley, up in north of Bristol. I can tell you, when we want to kind of prove something is safe, we can do it. I'm putting this slide up, Chernobyl, because just to kind of leave a thought with you, which is, in lots of other fields, we have a scale of how things go wrong. We have a taxonomy. We have a way of explaining to people in plain, simple terms. That's the nuclear event scale. We don't have something like that for AI disasters. Thank you very much.